Let's see here. I've got to get my stuff. Okay. I'm happy to be joined by Senators Durbin, Murray, and Stabenow. Now, today is a good day, not just because we had a great lunch, but because we're honoring some of the bravest among us, our Capitol Police officers. If you were here on January 6th, some of you were, you had a first-hand account of the heroism they showed that day. On a day when our democracy was under attack, the men and women of Capitol Police were quite literally fighting on the front lines to defend it. Today they'll be awarded the Congressional Gold Medal that they so rightfully deserve. And we just take off our hats to them. As you probably saw in the films, I was within 20, 30 feet of these awful people, these hooligans, these insurrectionists, and the Capitol Police protected me. They were great. Okay, but that's not the only thing on our agenda today. We'll be continuing negotiations to chart a path forward to fully fund the government for the next year in an omnibus and our military in the NDAA. This isn't an easy process, but it's important nonetheless for the well-being of our troops, for the preservation of our national security, for the tens of millions of Americans who look to the federal government for a wide range of basic services. Democrats and Republicans must work together to fully fund the federal government and pass an omnibus and an NDA quickly. On that, tomorrow we'll have an all-senators classified briefing on the latest developments in Ukraine. I'm confident senators will leave that briefing with a stronger understanding about how critical an omnibus is, not just to fund the government and keep our country moving and innovating, but to ensure we're providing our troops, our veterans, and our allies with what they need. Now, we have a lot of work ahead of us, and though there's a lot of negotiating going on around us, we're going to work doggedly until we come to an agreement. Leader McConnell and I have agreed to try and work together to make sure we get a year-long omnibus funding bill done. We hope it can be done this year, and each side is going to have to give in order to send an omnibus to the President's desk and avert a pointless, painful government shutdown. And today also marks one other important milestone. We're going to confirm our 89th and 90th judicial nominees to the federal bench. We're on pace to finish this year with more judges confirmed in the first 2 years of either of the previous 2 administrations. These nominees stand out not just in number, but in groundbreaking diversity. Listen to this statistic. 50% of the judges we confirmed are women of color. 50%. That's never happened before. I think that's more than have served in the judiciary for all time until we got here. And I'm confident that a more diverse bench will go a long way to cultivating our trust in our courts and our democracy. Today, because of what we Senate Democrats have done, our judiciary is more balanced, more diverse, more experienced than the one our country had 2 years ago. We're very proud of that. So we have lots to be proud of over the last 2 years, a lot more to get done. We're rolling up our sleeves and working. Senator Durbin.
Thanks, Chuck, and I just want to echo his comments on the Judiciary Committee. As he mentioned, we're set to confirm the 89th and 90th lifetime judicial appointments later today. This breaks the records of previous presidents, and it shows an extraordinary amount of success on a bipartisan basis. Recall that it's a 50-50 Senate, an 11-to-11 committee, and we have managed to achieve some historic goals in that effort. Not only diversity, but the fact that after the 90th, we still have 33 pending on the calendar and 11 more that will be reported from the committee this year. So you're saying we don't have much time left. You're right. I hope we don't have much time left to get the job done well. But we look back to the first 2 years of the Trump administration and the decision with the cooperation of the Democrats for 36 of their judicial nominees to be considered without a cloture vote and 24 by voice vote. So far this session, only 2 have been agreed to by a voice vote on the floor. So there is room for success, even more so in the future if we can continue this bipartisanship. The women and men that we are bringing to the bench will change the face of the judiciary for the better. It will bring diversity and balance to a court room that needs it so badly. I'm glad the Senate Judiciary Committee has met this challenge. Senator Murray.
Senator Murray.
Well, thank you. There may only be a few weeks left in this Congress, but I can tell you Democrats are ready to get more done. Every one of us wants to make sure that we pass the strongest end-of-the-year package possible in a timely way. We absolutely need to make sure that government is funded. That is priority number one. But as we have shown time and again in the past few years, we are not content with bare minimums. This is a Democratic majority that is ready to work. Whether it was passing the American Rescue Plan to get our country back on its feet, or the bipartisan infrastructure law to keep America moving forward, Senate Democrats have been busy working for the American people, lowering costs, and building a stronger economy for all of our families. We passed legislation to lower drug costs, bring back American manufacturing, keep the Postal Service running, as well as the first gun safety laws in 30 years, the biggest expansion for veterans care in decades, and the most significant climate legislation in our country's history. And let's not forget, as you just heard, we confirmed an incredibly accomplished jurist to the Supreme Court, not to mention many other qualified judges who are bringing much-needed expertise and representation to our nation's courts. And in case anyone thought we would slow down in the lame duck, just last week we passed the bipartisan legislation to protect same-sex couples and marriage equality. Democrats may have had the narrowest possible majority, but we have been determined to make the greatest possible difference for people back home. And we are not done yet. We have to fund the government. We have to keep the nation secure and the military equipped. And let's make progress on pressing issues where we do have bipartisan support, like pandemic preparedness, investing in mental health, strengthening our democracy, bolstering retirement and emergency savings, protecting our pregnant workers, and making sure our legal cannabis businesses can access credit. So to my Republican colleagues, let's work together on these ideas where we all agree, ideas which the American people are overwhelmingly supportive. We've still got a few weeks left in this Congress, and we are determined to make the most of them. Thank you.
Senator Stabenow.
Well, thank you. First, let me reiterate the fact that it doesn't get closer than 50-50 in the United States Senate, and yet we have been every single day delivering for people. And I want to also start by giving a shout out to the incredibly effective work of Senator Durbin, as chair of Judiciary Committee, and of course Senator Schumer, being laser focused. I'm proud of the fact the 90th judge today to be confirmed will be someone from Michigan, Kay Beam, to the district bench, and we will just keep going and going and going. But the reality is that since day one, Democrats have been delivering for the American people. We delivered with the infrastructure law, and you can see progress everywhere. In Michigan, you can barely go down the street without seeing orange cones. But we have 6,900 projects fixing roads, bridges, airports, and more, 2,800 bridges being repaired and replaced, 5,000 new clean energy buses for our children, getting folks to school and to work. We passed the major manufacturing bill, Chips and Science, which is literally bringing jobs home, which as a manufacturing state, I'm very, very excited about. President Biden is in Arizona today speaking about this along with Senator Kelly. We have delivered on the Inflation Reduction Act, investing in clean energy manufacturing, and again, bringing jobs home. And these investments are putting us on track to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 40% in the next 8 years. 40% in the next 8 years is really, really important. And we are lowering costs for Americans. The average American household will save up to $1,000 on their energy bills this year. And the cost of prescription drugs we know is going down. For the first time, Medicare is going to negotiate prescription drug prices, and starting in January, which is not very far away, folks on Medicare who use insulin, who need insulin, are going to be able to cap their costs at $35 a month, and that's going to literally save lives. And just last week, we stood with our LGBTQ plus friends and family by protecting marriage equality. The reality is, over and over again, we are laser focused on getting things done to improve people's lives and to protect their freedoms, and we're not done. So among other things, we're going to be passing the National Defense Authorization Act, the Omnibus Appropriations Bill, which is so critical to both defend our country and to avoid devastating shutdown. And we're going to continue as Democrats just to continue to put people first and make people's lives and what they need the top priority for our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Stabenow. Before I take questions, I want to show you my Democratic socks in hopes of good luck today in Georgia.
Leader Schumer, thank you. Good afternoon.
Okay.
What do you make of this proposal in the House on getting rid of the vaccine mandate? I know that the administration, the Pentagon pushed for that, and will that be a problem if it comes over from the House?
Okay, well, look, we're still working on the bill, so I can't speak to that. But I will say COVID vaccines have saved lives. The military has had requirements about other vaccines for decades, and there hasn't been a problem. It's befuddling, but we're still working on it.
What's the status on the Electoral Count Act, and do you
Yes.
expect that will be passed later this year?
The Electoral Count Act is very important to large members in our caucus, and I think a good number of people on the other side of the aisle. I'm very hopeful we will have that done by the end of the year.
Leader Schumer, do you have any response to Leader McConnell saying that your sort of stance on trying to get marijuana legislation or permitting reform into the NDA could sink it?
Well, look, this is something, again, that's had bipartisan support. We've been working with Republicans. It's a priority for me. I'd like to get it done. We'll try to discuss the best way to get it done. Yes?
The Center for Countering Digital Hate and the Anti-Defamation League both say that the volume of hate speech on Twitter has grown dramatically under Elon Musk's stewardship. The Anti-Defamation League says that there's an increase in anti-Semitic content on the platform and an increase in the moderation of anti-Semitic posts. Would you be open to reviewing Section 230 of the Communication Decency Act or taking any other steps to counter?
Look, I've always said that Section 230 is something that we should look at. The difficulty there is coming up with the right solution, but it's something I'd be open to looking at. Yes. Right, this nice man over here. Look, Senators Sinema and Tillis are talking, and I welcome people discussing it. It's something, obviously we'd very much like to get done, and we hope that those talks come to positive fruition. Last one.
What do you make of the protests breaking out worldwide of people standing up against the Chinese Communist Party for the food law measures?
Well, look, I think that under Xi, China has become far more authoritarian, yet the Chinese people are far more democratic, small d, and they don't like it. Thank you, everybody.